We're visiting with Robb Ewoldt, who farms in that Davenport, Iowa area, past president of the Iowa Soybean Association, a director with the United Soybean Board, and with USB. Robb is the infrastructure and connectivity priority area coordinator. Robb, that is a heck of a title. Good to have a chance to visit.
That and $2 will get you a cup of coffee at any Casey's, man. I'll tell you. So, yeah, they put a
I
heck of
hear
a
you.
title on me. I don't know if I can live up to it. Good to be here,
Well,
Don.
let's talk about the soy. Yeah, let's talk about the soybean checkoff itself. It is all about driving demand, and in particular, in this conversation, we're going to focus in on domestic demand. Uh, what is your focus for USB as you look at the year ahead and trying to move more soybeans?
I tell you right now, at the as it is at the farm, it is here at USB. We are dealing with tight budgets. Obviously, our collections are down because soybean prices are down, and so we are trying to figure out the best way to invest those dollars to get the biggest return for the U.S. soybean farmer. And so right now, we're finalizing our budgets and trying to figure out where to invest those dollars, and we're doing it in a strategic manner, and we realize that demand is where it is at, and we realize the things that we have maybe the most control over in that demand market is dealing with domestic use right now, and so that's what we're trying to do and trying to get a big return for these farmers.
When I think of domestic use, I look at animal agriculture. Most of that soybean meal, obviously, going through an animal of some sort, whether it's chicken or turkeys or dairy cows or pigs. Talk to me about what the soybean checkoff is doing as it relates to animal agriculture and trying to increase demand in that sector.
Well, I tell you, I'm a swine producer. We custom feed some hogs at on our operation, and we're trying to increase that soybean meal inclusion rate. That's a big game changer. I think what we're seeing in our research that the USB is invested in when it comes to nutrition in swine diets is that it can improve the health of the hog immensely. And I tell you what, if you talk to any hog producer nowadays, health is definitely the challenge. All around all farms, and from a producer that goes out and a caretaker that goes through these barns, it is a challenge when you're dealing with sick pigs. And if we can use more soybean meal and improve the health of these hogs and improve the number of hogs marketed, it's a win for both the soybean farmer and the hog farmer. So that's what we're trying to do.
Educate me, Robb. What does it mean to be improving the health of the hog through soybean meal?
We found that it is there's a little bit more there's more net energy in that soybean meal for that hog, but it's also and I am not the nutritionist and I'm not the research scientist, but what they are claiming is that they are seeing improved respiratory or response by feeding this, and instead of using the some of the amino acids that we were importing, we're getting that out of the soybean meal, and it's really improving the health of the pig. I'll have to apologize because again, I am only the farmer and not the researcher.
So when you're putting that ration together, how do you consider soybean meal as part of that fit on your operation, Robb?
Well, I just think as we put in a little bit higher rate that we can see a better response to the health. I am at the mercy of the people that we feed for, but we're showing them the studies out there, and we're starting to get the word out that that soybean meal is really had some benefits that over the synthetic aminos that we've been using in the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
And it all comes down to research to help tell that story, to educate the producer to make that happen.
It does, and we have work groups with animal nutritionists with a lot of the bigger swine operations that are out there, and they come together twice a year, maybe three times a year, and they discuss what research is being done at the university level and trying to get the word out there to use this, and here are the benefits to it, and like I said, we're seeing some great response out there.
As a member of the United Soybean Board, how do you guys evaluate those projects, and maintain some continuity in that research as well.
It can be challenging because we get hit with a lot of proposals on how to do this, but we start as the farmers in the room, and we say what's important to us, and then we talk to our staff, and the staff reaches out for proposals to do research. And that's how one of these came about, was to how can we get more soybeans into hog rations, and then we start doing these studies, and that's where we landed.
High-oleic soybeans are another area that we focus in on. Does that have an element as it relates to animal agriculture as well, Rob?
High-oleic is I'm excited about this, and a lot of farmers that are in dairy country should be excited about this, because we are doing some testing with roasted high-oleic whole soybean. And what we've found is that it really improves the components in the milk by feeding this whole soybean. If it's roasted properly, that's the big thing. We have to roast it the right way. But they tell me that as farms adopt this, that we're looking at maybe an acre of soybeans per cow per year. And when you start looking at a national dairy herd of maybe 9 million, and maybe 7 million can utilize this soybean, you talk about moving 7 million acres of soybean into a dairy ration. I think that's big. And I'm not a dairy farmer, don't claim to be one, but they tell me that the money in dairy is in the components. So if you can do it and with high-oleic and improve your profitability, I think it's great, and I've said this before. I think it's a win-win. It's a win for the soybean farmer. It's a win for the dairy farmer, and in the long run, probably a win for the consumer at the end at the grocery store.
We're all in a bottom line business. It's that ROI message that's got to resonate with that dairy farmer, I'm guessing.
It does, and I have to make the assumption that their margins are as tight as what they are for any soybean farmer out there today. And if we can help them be a little bit more profitable, and maybe we can be a little bit more profitable too, I look at domestic use as that's something that we can control, and unlike our export markets, where sometimes we fall into things that we are unforeseen, and so this is a great way to invest these dollars. And like I said, if you're close to a dairy that has, say, 5,000 cows anymore, well, that's 5,000 acres of beans that they're probably going to need if they adopt it. So, and if you live close to that, you're able to capture that without much transportation cost or anything. And you don't have to worry about some of these issues that trouble the export market.
Are there other uses for those high-oleic soybeans, Rob?
Yes, we've been able to do a lot of things when it comes to using that high-oleic oil in rubber. We can see it in tires. I can see it in the shoes that I'm wearing right now. The neatest thing that I believe that I was involved with was USB, and partnered with some other QSSB, some mainly Iowa Soybean Association, when it came to doing recycled asphalt and then putting the high-oleic oil into that as a sealer. If any of your listeners had had the chance to go to the Farm Progress Show in Iowa in particular, and I know Illinois did the same, their main varied industry building has that high-oleic soybean oil in the asphalt, which it's kind of a great project. I think it really cut the cost down on for those people using that recycled asphalt. It's very affordable now. So yes, there's great demand there.
It does feed into that whole area of bio-based products that there is certainly a lot of demand for.
Yes, there is, and people ask, well, what else can we do with soybean oil? And I said, again, I'm the farmer, but man, I think it's endless what we can do with this oil. I mean, it's whatever you can put petroleum-based oil into, we can play in that area. So I'm really excited for things to come.
I've been doing this a while. I think there's could be thousands of products that we use, soybean products or soybeans in those type of products. Could be those shoes you talked about, or the Goodyear tires, or the soy foam with the firefighters. What's the thing that gets you most excited when you take a look at some of these opportunities?
Well, to get excited right now about growing soybeans is very difficult. And I think there's a lot of farmers out there that can relate to that. But there are some great opportunities out there when we look at it. Maybe the renewable diesel market. I think it's really cool that we can take soybean oil right now and refine it down and put it into jet fuel, a sustainable aviation fuel. I mean, it's really cool. I got to tell you, we had a couple of us got together and made shirts up that said I grow jet fuel. Ask me how," because I think it's an amazing technology out there, and that excites me. And I think there's some great opportunities out there. It's just we got to weather the storm right now because the U.S. soybean farmer is very good at what they do. We produce a lot. We're very efficient in our production. Now we got to figure out how to use it all.
So at the start, we talked about you being a coordinator on infrastructure and connectivity priority. What does that entail, Rob?
I tell everybody on this board that it's the catch-all. So what we're talking, obviously, infrastructure is the easy part to talk about. We do a lot of research and do some studies. We partner a lot with the Soy Transportation Coalition and how to improve transportation throughout the country, whether we're talking rail, river, road, all of those. So that's one aspect of it, and through that we're also working with the biodiesel and trying to get that into our inland marine boats, and we're looking at a lot of our major railroads are starting to use biodiesel, which is a big win for us. We've had biodiesel in semis and in home heating, but now we're getting into the area where we can help fuel up those big locomotives that are going across the country with biodiesel. And I think that's an exciting use of what we can do. Infrastructure and connectivity also falls into the connectivity part, is dealing with how do we relate to our consumers when it comes to sustainability. And we fund some projects that help improve our carbon index scoring to make us more appealing to our consumers that live in the big cities that want to make sure that they're doing their part to help out the environment. So that's one other thing that we look at in infrastructure and connectivity.
How do you see that sustainability message, that carbon neutral message, resonate with the consumer audience that you're talking about?
It's a challenge. I'll be honest with you. It's a challenge because there's a lot of myths out there. To our consumers have a lot of ideas that are, quite frankly, false or incorrect, and we have to try to show that with science and where we're at in sustainable practices when it comes to growing soybeans. And it is a challenge. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but we are making headway. We're making headway when we talk about land use change and how that affects the consumer that lives in Chicago, and they didn't realize that there's land use change happening around them. They think it's more on the ag, and ag is bad. Well, we've been able to rewrite that narrative now, and we've proved with them, with science and what's happening, that we can be we can help to solve this problem. And so we are making headway in that part. It's challenging, but we are making headway.
And what's the soybean checkoff's role in changing that mindset?
So we are the biggest one is the land use change initiative. They call it Lucy, and we are partnering with different companies. McDonald's is one that's in particular, and we're trying to show them that, hey, our land use is not really changing. We are not, unfortunately, we've been tied in with the rainforest in South America when it comes to soybean production. And we're trying to change that narrative and show, look, we didn't clear any forests. We have been farming this ground for the last 120, 150 years the same way. It's been in production. And we are proving that, and we are getting our word out using those checkoff dollars to show those consumers that yes, we are doing it the right way, and it is making a difference now.
Great information. I've enjoyed this conversation. Rob, any final thoughts for us?
Uh, I know that it's tough out there right now, and I from a financial standpoint for a lot of your listeners, it's tough for me. We are taking those dollars and we are using them the best way that we can, where we see that we can get an investment back for those farmers. And if they want to learn more about what we're doing, everybody's got a website nowadays, and we're at unitedsoybean.org. And, look in there and see, you can get more in depth into what we're doing here and how we're spending those dollars. And just know that we are farmers spending our own dollars the best way we can.
Great message. Rob, thanks so much for your time.
Don, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Robb Ewoldt with us from Davenport, Iowa, a director with the United Soybean Board.